Right. Um, I wrote something for somebody, and I was about to type it up when something else came out. I wouldn't call it a poem. I used to write poems when I was in my 20s, maybe in my teens, late teens. Anyway, this is it, whatever it is. It's called A Dance. So where did it come from? No idea. It just kind of needs to be written. Right. You know. Looking into the eyes of a woman, you know. The quality of eye contact, how your gaze is held, the brightness of attention, how parting manifests, and the first movement is already over. Of course, mostly accidental, with eye contact flooded with the question of invitation, heavy with hand gesture. Mostly subconscious, with clear intention subsumed to the desire to dance regardless of with whom. Mostly unconscious, with misplaced attention on the future rather than the present moment. So you automatically stand up, wind your way through tables and legs to find yourself on the dance floor. The quality of embrace, how one is held, the grace of attention. And now the second movement ends with complete silence of body and mind, giving oneself to each other and to the music. One enters the music, as does a foot into a shoe, as a hand into your partner's. You become the embodiment of the music on the dance floor. The miracle of music catches some elements of your body or mind or soul and draws forth movement, perhaps a sigh of breath, perhaps a shift of weight, perhaps a heartbeat that manifests as a step, a sensation within the embrace, a fresh interpretation of mind, a languid feeling from the depth of soul, too long unexpressed. And so the fourth movement emerges from the mutual sharing of body, mind, spirit, rising like flames, not because of the mistaken source that drives so many dances, arising from the mechanical articulation of limbs or memories of sequential steps, reducing the dance to a game of chess, an exercise of body-mind. No. The body is as inert as dry sticks, and rising into the condition of the air providing oxygen, lending shape to a flame, so the spirit of music presents itself in the movement of not just one couple, but the entire conflagration that is the dance floor. And certainly those privileged enough to experience this abundance of freedom, whether from the inside as those dancing, or those with insight watching externally, may distinguish an apparent leader-follower dyad, or, more finely, the parity of mutual initiation, where the source of motion is indistinguishable and emerges from either body or mind or soul as one. For here is proof. Proof of the mutual dependence of awareness, a shining, divested of all pretense and word and garb and thought and feeling, an existence as miraculous as birth. Of course, there might be a third movement, where at first the male takes the lead, and the woman, delayed, follows. And how attentive is she? So he tests her, ensures that they are following the same intention, his. Their bodies become one as their attention fixes on the same particular, the sensation of inner thighs sighing past one another, the pause as insteps touch, the rising of mirth, the sudden turn of unpredictable genius. She trains herself. She attunes herself, attempting to be his shadow. So immediate her response, but she will never catch him until he tricks her. And where she thought she was following, she finds herself followed and surprised. So he takes the lead again, and so she, in turn, confused, follows once more, her intention honed to follow, and again he leads her to nothing. As he again folds upon her, constantly folding upon her, following the follower. And so the third movement begins and ends, in starts and spurts, until there is no longer leader or follower, but the music made real, enfleshed, a pure parity of inspiration, a breath shared as easily as a single thought. Tango. Of course, the initial embrace alerts a misplaced mind. What step shall we do to avoid boredom or perhaps to impress? Perhaps wandering to another dancer, envious of their steps or grace. Perhaps thinking of shopping or sex, or the million moths that fill our daily skies. So the second movement all too often reflects the first, avoiding the simple stillness, the undivided attention when we happen to glance at one another. Eye contact. That is all. With no shadows of yesterday or tomorrow, no dark impression or clouded thought, just eye contact. And that is all. Sharing the knowing that all is temporary. And it is this that gives tango its depth, the tragic, sweet intensity of life-death, of arising and abandoning, and the miracle that we may share something of it, share this same path, if perhaps for seconds, or minutes, or days, or years.